joining me for the instructional video for week 14. Let's see what your objectives are for this week. For your language objective, we are going to use prepositions. So prepositions show relationship or spatial positioning of different things to each other, and they can be really fun to play with your child. There are lots of prepositions, but the 25 most popular ones or most common ones that we use are words like of, in, to, for, with, on, at, from, by, about, as, into, like, through, after, over, between, out, against, during, without, before, under, around, and among. So if you look for some opportunities this week to incorporate those things, you'll be well on your way. This vocabulary is really important. It builds, not only critical language skills, but these are often used in math as well. So you're doing double duty with these words here. One of the things that I love to do with little kids is you can grab a favorite stuffed animal of theirs and you can play a preposition game by giving them different directions and or taking turns with it and showing them what the different prepositions mean. So you can take a favorite stuffed animal and say, hide Max under the table or lean Max against the bookshelf. So by doing that, it's, it almost becomes like a scavenger hunt or sort of a hide and seek game for your child to practice using the different prepositions and what they mean. For the cognitive objective for this week, under the category of think, we have understanding cause and effect. So this is a super important life skill. We want our children to think about, not what they're doing and, what it may cause in the future. It will help your child, understand why jumping off the seesaw when they're at the top might not be a good idea, or why if they leave their ice cream on the table to go play, when they come back, it's not going to be the same as it was when they left. So it's a pretty important skill. Different activity ideas that you can use to incorporate this are reading a story. Lots of children's stories illustrate cause and effect. A couple popular ones are Dr. Seuss's The Lorax, or If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. You can also think of cause and effect examples in the real world that your child can relate to and just discuss some of those. Again, riding in the car, bath time, those are great conversation times with your child. So you can just talk about some of those, or use them in the moment when they're occurring. If we don't put on our shoes and coat, or if we don't put them where they belong when we take them off, well, we can't find them again when we need it. Why do we exercise and eat healthy food? Well, it's because we want to stay healthy and we want to have the energy that we need to play. If we don't take a nap when we're tired, then, we're going to be tired and cranky in the afternoon. Or if we don't, go to bed on time and get a good night's sleep, we're going to be tired the next day. So using cause and effect to illustrate to your child why we do the things we do or why we don't do the things that we don't do, and how that works in everyday situations. Another thing you can do is play really simple chain reaction games, like, for instance, lining up dominoes, or, for instance, the board game Mousetrap for little kids. That's a really great one, requiring them to plan ahead and think about, well, if I do this, what is it going to cause? For your literacy objectives for this week, we are all the way to the letter N. So recognizing the upper and lowercase n and also the sound of N. And once again, it's a voiced consonant, just like M, and remember not to put that schwa on the end of it. So N rather than N. For math, we're going to, continue practicing counting to 100 in case your child needs a little more work with that. But if they've mastered it and they're tired of counting, feel free to set that aside and to just focus on your other math objectives for this week, which are, we're going to begin to incorporate the concepts of subtraction using a small number of real objects. So just showing them what happens when you take something away, and getting their brains working on that basic concept of subtraction, using real, concrete, physical objects in front of them, and the concept of how when you have a group of things and you take a certain number away, what you're left with is then less than the original amount. We're also going to look for some opportunities to incorporate time words. So these are, basic vocabulary related to time, morning, afternoon, evening, night, today, yesterday, tomorrow, or even words like now, later, before, soon. All of these are time vocabulary that becomes really critical later on when we're actually learning how to tell time. For your fine motor objectives for this week, we have 1 finger isolation activity, 1 wrist extension and stability activity, 1 open thumb web space activity, and 1 gross or cylindrical grasp activity. By now your child is getting, a great deal of experience in a lot of different both gross and fine motor objectives and activities, and really working those muscles. For social emotional objectives, we have under the category of self-management, makes changes in thinking or actions, and under social awareness, demonstrating interest in or curiosity about others' families, languages, and cultures. This can be a really fun one too, and it also relates to our fun project for Friday, which is cultural cuisine. So we sort of play off of this social emotional objective, and we're going to give you an opportunity to learn about other families, languages, and cultures by making a recipe from a different culture. So if you have ancestors or family members, from a different culture, you might pick that one in a traditional recipe, maybe one that's been handed down in your family. That could be fun, or simply a traditional one from that particular ethnic group or nationality. You could choose any, just sort of randomly. Look up a recipe from a different culture, maybe a particular culture that you engaged with in the diversity dress-up activity, or you can look through a book and you see people from different nationalities and backgrounds, and kind of look up some recipes from those and see what you think your child might be interested in, something that's fun to make and that you think your child would also be interested in eating, because that often that helps too. We want to try to make something that your child will then enjoy the result of. Usually sweet treats or bread recipes are really safe bets that your child will, enjoy making them. Kids love to make things that incorporate dough, either stirring or kneading dough, but then also they're usually fairly safe bets for your child to be willing to eat as well. So maybe a cookie recipe, a bread recipe, something like that. So I hope you have fun with that this week, and we'll see you back next week for week 15.